Hello everyone, with yesterday's patch we had a major change to Galactus. He is now no longer able to just trigger anytime he's the only card that you have in that location. There are a lot of additional ways for the opponent to counter you. It has to be your only card in that location, and you have to be winning the lane to be able to make his effect go off. And so this makes it a little bit harder to go with the old, just straightforward wave Electro Galactus line. But I do think it opens up some interesting possibilities for a turn 6 Galactus. And I've been experimenting with him in several shells, and the other ones, they feel really gimmicky, honestly. Sometimes they're going to work, but a lot of times, especially with like Lockdown and the opponent so commonly running things like Spider-Man, Professor X, or just big bursty cards like, I don't know, the Evolved Hulk. It's really hard to consistently get your Galactus to trigger following a wave, following an Electro ramp. And so instead of leaning so heavily on Galactus, I went back to the turn 6 Galactus style deck. Now this one offers some air of uncertainty for the opponent because they don't know exactly what you're going to go with on the last turn. So as a conquest mode battle unfolds or develops, or as you're playing on the ladder, they don't know whether it's going to be the Galactus line on the last turn, or maybe a Destroyer, maybe a Venom and a Carnage, a Venom Deathlock, to get a lot of additional reach on the board. That's really hard to pinpoint exactly where it's going to land. Now this one can still be difficult to navigate against things like Lockdown, things like Spider-Man, Professor X. It can hold your Nimrod in place, it can hold your Wolverine in place, and then the only way to free it is if you go Galactus. But what we're hoping for is that we eventually lull them into a false sense of security so that we can either drop the Galactus and then we just win the game, or with the Goblins, if it looks like we're running a normal destruction deck, that gives us a better opportunity to position our Goblins in a way that can guarantee that Galactus will trigger no matter what they play. So normally I give you some stats as far as like my own personal win rate or cube rate with a deck. This one I don't know for sure. With Conquest, with the untapped deck tracker, they haven't made a change where it differentiates those two different modes. And so I was spamming Proving Grounds with this deck, snapping on turn 1. If I lost that first round, I was retreating. And so the rates look awful. So honestly, I have no idea. But the overall sample size for this deck does look promising. I think this one is a good starting point. There may be some room for finesse, but overall, I think this gives you a lot of flexibility and a lot of ways to find wins. And with the deck explanation out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump over. Wait. Before you start any gameplay, I'm TLSG from the future, and I have an important message for you. Today is the day that you would start a habit, a bad habit that no matter how many times you try to break, you just can't get away from it. It continues to be in your life forever. And so I had to come back in time and tell you that you should not start that thing today. Now, cold turkey may be great on sandwiches, but there's a better way for you to break bad habits. I'm not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor or traveling back in time to warn yourself to never start it in the first place. I'm talking about today's video sponsor, Fume. And they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapors, Fume uses flavored air. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all natural, delicious flavors. I think you're probably starting to get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy, and it makes replacing your bad habit easier. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. Wasn't sure what to expect when Fume contacted me for a sponsorship, but as a fellow fidgeter that always likes to be doing something with my hands, the weight and design felt perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com/marvel or scan the QR code and use code MARVEL to get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use code MARVEL to save an additional 10% off of your order today. All right, first up we have Helcon, and the first location is Project Pegasus, which is not, I mean, if you're running a Galactus deck, that's like a free, it should be a free Galactus if you have it in hand. We, of course, do not have it in hand yet. I'm going to do the Hobgoblin somewhere. I aim to do the Green Goblin in that same location later on. I'm actually going to do it into this third location because I think they play for Project Pegasus. We're going to aim to do the Hobgoblin. We'll do Green Goblin over there as well, and just try to constrict the amount of space that they have by as much as possible. If we get something like Shuri Nimrod, and then Double Destroyer is going to be huge. That's going to give us so much value on the board. I'm going to go ahead and do the Bucky Barnes. We don't necessarily want to keep our lanes open like you normally would the old Galactus deck. What? All right, well, turns out we should have. Murder World just absolutely murdered us. We can't do Green Goblin in mid because Kamartaj will bounce it there and then bounce it back. This will just destroy an extra card, which is unfortunate. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the Green Goblin in the Project Pegasus lane. Super strange that they did just a Zabu on turn 1 with all of that extra energy. All right. We're going to do Deathlock. I don't know. If we get our Nimrod, then the Double Destroyer is the line we're going to go with, so we don't need to hold 2 destroy engines necessarily. They have a Venom. What in the world kind of deck are they running? Titania, Zabu, and Venom is what they have shown so far. Wild. We don't. Oh no, we don't get anything. We don't get anything that's gonna generate across the board. We just. Oh, unfortunate. Ooh. However, Magik is kind of cool. I think Binks was running a turn 7 Galactus yesterday. Let's try and sneak a sneaky Galactus into Kamartaj. Ooh, actually, we have initiative, so we'll be able to... Wait. Do we want to end the game here? This ends the game. Galactus taking away Limbo ends the game, and if they were looking to do the same thing, then that's scary. This would give us 1 additional turn to play, and so then we could do something like Wolverine into Carnage into Venom, or just Wolverine into Venom, since we do have the bigger power Galactus. We could also just do Destroyer as well. We're going to Galactus mid. Goodbye, Helcon. It was... Oh, no. I don't even feel good about that one. We will take the 2 cubes where we can. An animation's so nice, you got to see it twice. Let's go ahead and take the 2 cubes. We're going to jump on into the next one. All right, next up we have this old poot. We have our Shuri into Hobgoblin, which is always a fun line. It's never... I don't know that that is almost ever optimal, but it is an incredibly fun line to go with. We have our Wolverine. I almost want to rotate it, because then we could potentially get our Nimrod, maybe Destroyer, maybe Green Goblin. Is that worth it? Worth? We have the 4 into 5, which isn't bad. Yeah, let's go ahead and rotate our Wolverine. There's so much potential upside. That is not an upside. All right, well, that was unfortunate. All right, so Elysium. Ooh, Elysium is so solid here. We can either do some double rotation. We could do a Shuri into Hobgoblin. Oh, wait. Normally you can't do Shuri into Hobgoblin into Galactus. But, big but here, we can. Aunt Maze is going to trigger the Shuri into this location. It's going to push her out. We can then do Hobgoblin. That'll be 16 power going to their side. We then have the Galactus, which should allow us to find a way to win. I'm also going to do a rotation here. Okay. I was kind of hoping for like a Nimrod, maybe even Destroyer for... Ooh, wait. Sunspot into Electro. Are they doing a Sandman ramp, maybe? No way. No way, bro. I don't believe you. What? What is this game? Okay. So I assume that they're... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. No. I assume that they're going to go with a Sandman here. It's okay, because we typically don't play multiple cards. In most games, we don't play multiple cards in a turn. They do have extra energy here, so... Black Panther is big. It's going to trigger and then move, so it gets another +3. Hobgoblin Arnhem Zola was just... It came from our greed, too. Nothing else other than us just being greedy. Okay, let's rotate Destroyer. If things work out, then maybe we Galactus into Aunt May's next turn and get Nimrod over there. Maybe. If not, then, I mean, at least we have the Destroyer. We're clearing the negative goblins. We're clearing a little bit of space here, which isn't fantastic, but I think it is okay. We have some pretty good rotations for this Nova. We have the Bucky Barnes, which after Destroyer would remain some power on the board, or would leave some power on the board. We have Wolverine, which will bounce. We have Deathlock, would be our low roll, and then Nimrod would be the ideal. Wow. So the Jubilee into Absorbing Man is big. Oh, no. Oh, I refuse to believe that this old poot is destroying me this heartily. Now, the good thing is this location is it's capped out. It's locked out. They can't do anything here. Oh no, Wolverine could sabotage us. Oh, are we gonna get... Okay. I thought we were gonna get destroyed by the exact same rotation 2 times within the same game. We have this lane pretty heavily locked down. They're pretty solid here. They could have an arrow, which would pull our Galactus into a different lane and we would lose. Actually, no, we wouldn't. If it's just the arrow, then we win here. Probably win here as well. So let's go with the Galactus. See what they... Oh no, we have initiative. Okay, I don't know what we're debating for. We have the Galactus come down, and we will end the game there. I haven't been snapping like I normally do, like I normally would. It just feels different after Conquest mode and playing Battle mode so much. Snapping on a regular game just seems, especially after Infinite, it seems, I don't know, it seems pointless. So we would have snapped there, they would have retreated, but we will take the 2 cubes with the turn 6 Galactus. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Basic. The first location is nowhere, unfortunately. I'm just gonna skip here. We could play the Nova, hoping to eventually do Galactus or Destroyer. I don't think that's our plan or our path. Now we could do something in Aunt May's that'll push it out. I don't think that's the ideal path either. Strange Academy gives us some clearance on after turn 5. But things with like Goblin are not going to be great there. But it would give us clearance here after 5. All right, we're going to do Bucky Barnes and Nova. We're going to start playing into Strange Academy, because all of the other locations are atrocious for us. All right, we do have our Wolverine now, so we're going to be able to trigger all of these by playing the Bucky Barnes first. It will get 7 power instead of 6. It's a small thing, but depending on the order that you play your Nova. The Wolverine will get buffed as well, and then he's going to bounce somewhere. We don't know where he's going to bounce just yet. I do know that this lane will clear up after turn 5, which is what we were banking on for something like a Hobgoblin and then maybe Galactus. But we'll see. Oh, that is a big She-Hulk in Aunt May's and then bouncing to the side. Ooh, Basic usually plays a Destroy deck, so that's what I was assuming, or I was under the assumption that that is what they were going to play. Does not look like that is the case. Okay, let's go with a Nimrod. We're going to hope. We're going to hope that Strange Academy sends it into Aunt May's, so that we can at least destroy it once, maybe twice. But Strange Academy becomes very, very scary. I guess if we have initiative and we top deck Galactus, then we can just play it, right? So if we were trying to climb, if I was trying to climb the ladder here, I would, depending on if we have initiative, which we do, I would probably bluff snap here, even if I don't get Galactus. Is that what we do? We bluff snap? Ooh, this will be kind of cool. Deathlock is... it could be cool, it could be dumb. Deathlock is going to go here, and then Aunt May's is going to push it because this is the first card we've played in this location. It could push it over into the Venom lane, push a Nimrod, it could push a Wolverine, and then we'll destroy that one as well. I want to see this one play out, or else I would bluff snap in this scenario. I think they probably play something like maybe a Hulk, but I don't see anything much larger than that. Maybe a Hulk and a Wasp. But since we have initiative, we could always do Galactus into Strange Academy. They're I think they would have to figure out if it was worth it to stay. I don't think with all of our with our Wolverine and our Nimrod going into the lane, we would Galactus. I don't think they would typically stay. Wolverine goes to the left. Our Nimrod is going to go to the right. That does force the Deathlock into the right lane, so we can absorb this location. Unfortunately, the Nimrod's not going to be fantastic here because it doesn't have any additional space in nowhere. But we do have that lane locked down, and so maybe it's not as bad. No, it's definitely not as bad. We are able to hold down the turn 6 Galactus win without the Galactus. We will go ahead and take the 2 cubes. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right. Next up, we have It's a Bully. The first location is Negative Zone. We do have our Galactus, and so if we can get something like Shuri, Nimrod, maybe a Goblin or 2 down beforehand, we get a lot of benefit. Second location being Elysium is fantastic for us. That's our ramp component without us having a ramp tool, because we typically are not going to be ramping anymore. Negative Zone is kind of cool for our Goblins, right? We can just slam it into the location. Maybe we do that. Next turn, we do something like Shuri into Muir Island to make them think that we're going to play from Muir Island, and then we drop Galactus on them. That's what we're going to do. They snapped on us. I'm going to snap right back. We have the Green Goblin. That's going to be a -6 resource in the Negative Zone, and then we'll be able to go from there. They snapped. I went ahead and snapped back. I was thinking I would snap, but since it was a ladder game, I was just going to kind of let it play out as normal. Ooh, they have the Rock Slide, so they could have maybe a Cosmo, but playing that here would be so scary to do. All right, so we did top deck our Hobgoblin. Do we want to spread the love? We can do the Hobgoblin here, right? That should give us initiative going into this next turn. Or we do the Shuri as kind of that psych. That's that psych play where we're psyching them out. Hobgoblin gives us multiple ways to do it. Let's go with the Hobgoblin. We could also go Hobgoblin here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. If they have that much negative here, I don't think there's any way they overcome it. Even if our Galactus does not go off, I don't think they can clear this location. A Cosmo here would be a bold call. Be a good one, but it'd be bold. No, we have initiative, so a Cosmo here is not gonna change anything. All right, let's go ahead and do the Galactus. On the last turn of the game, unless they have a way to clear these negative goblins, I don't see them having a way to come back and make up that much of a deficit. -17 is so detrimental. And then we have the potential to get like a Destroyer next turn. And if not, then maybe we just go something like Venom. That's going to give us an extra +3 power, so we'll have a total of 7. Wait, what do you guys think? While we're waiting for them to decide, they do end up retreating. While we're waiting for them to decide, what do you think of the cubes here? Or do we divide the two? Because right now I have my avatar. We have the amount of energy we have down here. What do you think of the cubes in the middle? Kind of cut the elements in half so that there's like that clear cut between the 3. I think we're going to leave it right here for now. Let me know what you prefer in the comment section. Let's go ahead and take the 4 cubes. We'll jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Dave. The first location is Aunt May's. I'm not sure if we've played Dave today or not. Bar Sinister is fantastic for us. Not necessarily the Nimrod, not necessarily the Wolverine. Being able to do something like either Nova and then Carnage, we could do something and then Venom, which would give us a lot of reach. We could also do one of our Goblins there, and that's going to give us a lot of value. And so and then seeing the Invisible Woman, we're set, right? Normally seeing Invisible Woman is like a protective measure. But when we're thinking of Galactus and needing to be over their power level by at least 7, that just gives us a free out. Let's go ahead and snap into it. I know that I said I would snap with the Bar Sinister. I know that it's ladder. Snapping doesn't make as much sense, but this is one of the best scenarios we could ask for. No matter what they have in this Vormir location, we're going to be able to do something like Nimrod all the way down, or we could do... We can't really do Shuri and then Nimrod because Aunt May's could hurt us. Could hurt us quite a bit. So I think what we're going to do instead... I think we're just gonna Venom. We're gonna let Venom eat himself. He's not gonna be huge, but I don't think he has to be. We're gonna be able to do a Green Goblin here. We can guarantee that Galactus will trigger. in Vormir because they're not going to be able to reveal anything, even with like a Heimdall shift, even with a ramp of some sort. We just have a free Galactus, knowing that they can only get a max of 3 power. Even if they have big power there, it won't be able to change anything. And so maybe they hide enough behind this location that it's able to steal the game back in their favor. What we're hoping for is the Hobgoblin is enough to right size it in our direction. I mean, we could do the Nova, but I like the Hobgoblin a little bit better. I doubt that they cap out this location fully this turn. And so the Hobgoblin will give us initiative going to the last turn, because I assume they probably play for maybe just one of these two. And then this is going to swing the initiative back in our favor. We do get the retreat. After seeing the setup or the telltale signs of what looks like a Galactus, I think they realized how tough this was going to be and how doomed it was. We're going to go ahead and take the 2 cubes. Not eventful, but efficient. We will go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Ducato. They do fist bump back, but I'm pretty certain that some bots can do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they play bot-like. The Sacred Timeline is not going to be fantastic for us. We have Shuri into like a Hobgoblin. We could do that. We could do the Shuri here, Hobgoblin. Shuri will get pushed out of Aunt May's, which is pretty good for us. And then we could do the Galactus, which I think is going to be our way to win. I think that is our key to victory. We're going to go ahead and play some of the other cards elsewhere. Ooh. We can now do Shuri into Nimrod into something like Galactus. Or maybe Shuri, Nimrod. If it gets destroyed, we can Galactus. If it doesn't, we can Galactus or we can destroy her. I think these locations are looking fantastic for us. We could snap here. Honestly, I feel like snapping. But I think we're going to hold off for a minute. I'm not sure. Ooh. Shuri into a negative 18 power in Aunt May's into a 6 power here. Is that worth it? Is that better than doing the Nimrod plays? I assume that this is a high evolutionary deck. Seeing the Scorpion, I just assume high evolutionary. I'm torn between how I want to play this. Okay, the Nimrod did get hit by Scorpion. They're all going to be a max of 8 instead of 10. Let's go with the Shuri play. See what we can make happen. They play for the Shuri lane as well. It's going to bounce out. Our Shuri is going to bounce out. They have initiative here. So something like Professor X. Super scary. We'll see. See what they play and where. They could Professor X Danger Room. That would be the dream if they do that. No, they play 2 cards into Aunt May's. May you not do that, please. But they do Wave and Misty Knight. They have a big deficit here. We have initiative. This will be 6, so they're going to need something bigger than, what, 18 power? And then they retreat. I was about to start calculating how many times they soaked. So they soaked on 1, they soaked on 4, and on 5. And so that would be plus 6. Hulk would be exactly 18. Nova would give us, I think, that 1 point boost. We will take the 1 cube where we can. I don't think this was a bot anymore. We will take the 1 cube where we can. Go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Brawl Knock. The first location is Aunt May's, which is going to be pretty good for like a Shuri into a Hobgoblin, maybe even Shuri into Green Goblin. Or if we draw our Nimrod or Galactus or Destroyer, we can adjust depending on what our strategy for this game ends up looking like. They play an Iceman into Jotunheim, so it is going to get reduced in power. This could be a bounce deck. Seeing the Iceman right off the bat usually makes me think of bounce. We're going to go ahead and play Bucky Barnes. We do have Deathlock, but now it is a little bit more expensive because of their Iceman. We skip turn 2. Then it's the Sanctum Sanctorum. We're going to go ahead and do the Green Goblin. We should snap. If I was still trying to rank up or I was in Conquest, I would snap at this point because we have a very definite advantage over the opponent. We're going to go ahead and send the Green Goblin, which will continue to downgrade unless they Beast Bounce it back in. No, they Storm it. Okay. Which is also perfectly fine. We have Aunt May's, but so do they. They have Aunt May's as a way to play a card, maneuver it. And so we're going to go ahead and do the Shuri. We have the Nimrod, and then the Destroyer should allow us to spread that Nimrod's power across the board. It's going to be 10 for each one. And so I think we have a pretty safe game here. They do get the Dracula. I'm wondering if this is a discard deck that just hasn't been able to play their discard yet. If so, the Dracula becomes pretty big. I don't know that it is enough to win, though. If we had a Hobgoblin into a Galactus, that'd be huge. But I think the Nimrod is going to be big enough to win us Sanctum Sanctorum location. And then their Dracula, they probably win the Flooded Lane, but I think we can win the other two. They have the Morbius, which bounces over into the Sanctum Sanctorum. And then Lady Sif. So not the line I thought they were going to go with. Maybe they didn't have the MODOK in hand. The Galactus should be good enough to allow us to get a comfortable lead in Ant Maze. We're going to have the Nimrod here and then the padding of the additional Nimrod in the Sanctum Sanctorum. That should allow us, no matter how many cards they discard, I think it will make sure that we stay on top in that location. So they do stick it out. It's another game where we don't end up needing the Galactus line, but it's there for those games where maybe there's not that heavy lockdown component. Maybe you get your goblins and you can force them into an unwinnable position. But by doing so, you give that element or that air of doubt in their mind where there's the possible misplays that can happen. We are able to hold down 2 of the 3 locations. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have you. The first location is Ant Maze, which they use immediately to get an early burst on their Kitty Pryde. I think that may have been a little bit early. Like they didn't have to focus on that, right? But still, let's go ahead and do I guess we do the Wolverine. Right now with the Hobgoblin, we might be able to do that into Ant Maze. We could do, okay, yeah, I like this line. The more I look at it, the more I like this line. We can do Wolverine into a Green Goblin, eventually a Hobgoblin, and then maybe a Destroyer, maybe some Destruction tools. Maybe we go Nimrod instead, but right now, looking at just the tools that we have, I think that's our ideal line. So they get Westview. The last location is Westview. We do get Venom, so we'll be able to start destroying some cards if and when we need to. Let's go Green Goblin. The only bit of concern that we have with the Goblins is that they could potentially have Beast. Okay, so the Nova tells me this is more of a counter-heavy version of a Kitty Pryde deck, so it's more of like a Sera tech, more than anything else. All right, since we can, we're going to do the Nova first and then the Bucky Barnes. No, Bucky Barnes first and then the Nova. That way Bucky Barnes turns, Nova will buff up the Winter Soldier instead. The other way around, Bucky Barnes gets the bonus and then the Winter Soldier is still only 6. So we do still have our Destroyer. Is it what we want to do? I don't know. A Nimrod here would be pretty cool because then we could do like a... Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. They do play their Kitty Pryde, brings them up to 6. That brings their Kitty Pryde to 11. I'm pretty sure they're going to be trying to manage initiative going into this last turn. Do we double stack the Goblins? I think we double stack the Goblins. We make them think that we're going Galactus for sure. And then we're going to go like double destruction instead. You are rude. You're rude, my friend. So rude. Why do you have to be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Look at the Galactus. We could have done it. Could have made this happen. This could have been a reality. But instead of reality, it was a fatality. Something like this could... No. Something like this could work. We're probably going to lose this one. This is a Hitmonkey Zoo Flood deck. They have initiative going to this last turn, so they might be scared of a Killmonger, but honestly, they don't need to be. I figured they wouldn't put much emphasis in this lane, so if maybe we can get the Wolverine to stay or bounce over in this location, maybe we can win off of that. Because I don't think they'll put the real Mysterio here. I assume that with the -8 Hobgoblin over there, okay, well, fine then. Wait, do we get this? Did we win with just the one Wolverine trigger? We're not going to win the Ant Maze location. Where is this real one at? I don't know about you. I don't have a good follow-up to that. We are going to go ahead and take the 2 cubes, and I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end the video. This deck wants to make the opponent think that we're going Galactus, and yes, a lot of times we can, but we want to have that shadow of a doubt of, are they going to go Galactus, or maybe they just go Destroyer, maybe they go double destruction, and with a little bit of doubt in their mind, that leaves room for misplays and making the wrong decision. Similar to when the ongoing Destroyer deck, the Spectrum Destroyer deck, used to be really good, it led to misplays on the last turn because you didn't know which direction the opponent was going to go with. And so you could play for one that may not be the correct line. And so overall, I think Galactus is still okay. It's definitely not as all in. It's not going to trigger as often, but I think there are shells that will end up working for him. And so I think only time will tell as we see the game and the meta develop. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.